half. Our communication totally deteriorated. I thought we gave into fatigue as a team. To have the number of miscues that we had in our pick and roll coverage, we weren't able to solve problems tonight. We weren't able to get to the next play. They shot the ball well, credit to Minnesota. But I think on the defensive end, we've got to clean up our communication. I also thought that part of our kind of half-heartedness in the second half defensively is because our offense was struggling and we let that bleed into our defense. Plain and simple tonight, we did not pass the ball. And there's 30 possessions you could point at where there's multiple people open and we're just forcing it. And we've got to get back to the understanding of who we're playing, understanding how they want to guard, applying what happens in the film room and on the, practice court, and applying it to the game. Stats don't mean shit. I don't care about your individual stats. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care what you post on Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's a team sport. You play to win. And we have to nip this in the bud now, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. There will not be free minutes in this program. And so you're either going to start learning and you're going to start playing the right way and you're going to start participating with your teammates, or you're not going to play.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah.
You went with Colin Sexton off the bench tonight and started Chris Dunn. What was the reasoning behind that?
I thought we wanted to have Chris as the primary defender on Anthony Edwards to start the game. I also felt like, with Jordan out, with a bunch of guys out, it was a good opportunity to mix up the rotation and get Colin in that bench role. We knew we were still aiming to get him a ton of minutes, similar to how we've, used Jordan. But I felt like it was an opportunity to give us some balance and to have Colin on the court as kind of somebody we could play through a little bit with the second group. I thought Colin responded well. He understood the reasoning. And ultimately, he played pretty well tonight.
With some of that stuff, forcing things just in the middle, it seemed like it was a lot of just going against guys that were much bigger, and there was trees in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want them to not even get into that situation and pass before that, or is there a pass within that they can do?
Yeah, a lot of the passes against the Timberwolves have to be early. You have to understand that the first person who attacks probably isn't going to get to shoot. They're the number one defense in the NBA. They show night in and night out that the first attack is not what's going to score. It's hard to guard in this league, and like anybody, their defense can break down with multiple passes, multiple drives, multiple actions. And tonight we just didn't do enough of that.
I think there's some excitement in the fan base about the idea of Walker Kessler and Taylor Hendricks together as a front court defensive duo. What do you see when they play together? Do they play to each other's strengths at all? And what do you see that potential as well?
Yeah, I think the concept sounds good. They both have length, which is really probably the biggest thing you need defensively in this league right now. Taylor showing the ability to guard a variety of people. And so I think, there is some potential there moving forward. But nights like tonight show you there's a lot of work to be done.
When you look at, how it kind of got away from you in the second half, did it just kind of snowball? Did it kind of snowball suddenly, or was it kind of like a steady, gradual thing in your eyes in terms of the game getting away from you?
Yeah, it wasn't like some massive run. It was, our offense continued to struggle. We had to work really hard to get shots off. I felt like the fatigue started to creep in, and then our brains kind of shut off a little bit on the defensive end. But they were able to get a couple transition threes. Mike hit a couple threes in transition, after some poor offense. So it wasn't one thing, but our effort and intensity in the second half sort of waned, and I thought that, Minnesota did a really good job of upping their physicality on both ends of the court in the second half.
I don't want you to pick on one guy, but you pulled Keontae at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Was that because you didn't like the way that he was playing?
No, it was a lack of execution coming out of a timeout. I hold Keontae to a high standard, and if he's going to be, the future of this program, which is something that I think he's capable of being, he has to hold himself to that standard as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.